In this video, we're looking at the drawing tools, such as the brush, the blob brush, and the pen, and also the razor tool. So at this point, we're looking at doing some more freehand drawing. It's a good point to buy either a drawing stylus or you can keep using the mouse. It's up to you. You can pick up drawing styluses pretty cheap from as cheap as $25 onwards. So in today's tutorial, I've got a koala sketch. And I just always do suggest that you start off with sketches first if you're not a good freehand drawer or creative. There's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty on the internet. Just do a Google image search. And then what I'm going to do is drag that sketch onto Adobe Illustrator, okay, like so. It is a good idea to work in layers here. It's not essential. So layers is over here in the top right-hand corner. Double click on that and call it Koala. The reason why we should work in layers is it's easy to make mistakes and you don't want to actually overwrite the original stencil. So to create a new layer, it's in the bottom right-hand corner, create a new layer, and we're going to call this our sketch. And I'll call it drawing. Okay, and then we've got that layer selected. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select our pen tool, which is over here. Now there's a difference between the pencil tool and the paintbrush. I always suggest you go with the pencil tool because the pencil tool is vector based. As you draw it, you have these handles on here, and those handles can be adjusted as you draw across. And then when you're finished, either use the paint tool or I prefer the blob brush tool to fill in. So always start at the outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our pencil tool. So left click and hold pencil tool, go to properties here. You've got a couple of different options here. I'm going to select a gray, and then I'm going to change the point to a big one like 5 points so you can see it on the screen. We might just zoom in slightly on this koala here so you can see what's going on. I'm not going to draw the whole koala today, so we're going to do a portion of it, and then you're going to complete the rest. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw around the edges, completing any missing parts, because you want to fill it all in to make the outline look nice and smooth. So just like if you've got a stylus, you just put pressure down and you just draw around. If you make mistakes, that's okay. You can always adjust them later because, as I said before, the pen is a vector tool, and you can adjust those handles around outside. And if you want to know more information on how to do that, you can look at my lines tutorial, which is on YouTube. Okay, so you can see a freehand draw on that. So there's a couple of mistakes there. We'll just do the arm quickly, just so you can see the definition. As you can see here, I'm using a mouse, just to show you how hard it is to do with a mouse. It's not impossible, but it does make your life a bit harder having a mouse. Okay, so you can see we've made some mistakes there. The best way to fix those up is to go up to the top here, select the direct selection tool. You can see here right away that we have our handles, and all you need to do on those is just move them. It can be a bit timely into locations that you would like, okay, by just dragging them. Remember, you can also use the controlled shift methods for moving it around. So shift and control for touching points. Okay, so I won't go through it now, but if you want some more information on how to do lines, just look at my line tutorial. Then what you do is, this is where the blob brush comes in good, is you left click and hold here, select the blob brush. I'm going to select a different color in my fill just to make sure you can see. So I'm going to go for a darker gray, and then I'm going to select, you can see here, nice and thick, is then all you do is you're just filling in. It's actually pretty similar, actually. You're filling in, and you can see here that if I let go, unlike the pen tool, which is vector-based, it has no handles. So there is a way around mistakes, which I'll show in a minute. So you can make your brush a little bit bigger. I'm just doing this just to show you roughly how you do it. So as I said before, you can fix up your mistakes here using also the brush tool, but I always strongly suggest that you start with your pen tool, because your pen tool is much more accurate than your blob brush will ever be. All right, so you can see there's no way I can adjust it. Okay, the best way to work is always the pen tool first up. So if I do make a mistake and I do want to take a section out, the eraser tool, really great little tool here. You can adjust its size here. I always suggest that when using the eraser tool, Make sure we deselect that. When selecting the razor tool, you can adjust the thickness up here. Try zooming in to get more accurate representation. So you can see here, if I just delete it, it's a really good way of removing any of the paint or the pen lines. So even though this is a bit rough, you can roughly see that the pen tool is used for drawing outlines. It should always be on a separate layer in case you make a mistake. Then once you've finished your whole outlines, then you should go through and either use the paint or the blob brush to fill in. The difference is if you use the paintbrush, it'll be all vector-based, which is not ideal when you're filling in large sections here. So I always suggest that the blob brush is the best one to use. My advice is to complete the whole stencil here for the koala, doing the outline first, and then filling it in with the blob brush. If you have more any questions, as I suggest, look at my line tutorial, which will go through more how to adjust the handles on here. Otherwise, thank you for watching my video.